as Richard mentioned, I'm Kevin Chen. I'm a co-founder at italki, and I'm really glad to be here. I attended the Polyglot Conference in 2015. I was completely blown away by the community that Richard has put together. I think it's an amazing. All of you guys have already started meeting each other, to meet so many language lovers, people who are just fascinated by culture. It's really amazing, and we're super proud to be supporters of the Polyglot Conference. So yeah, I just wanted to just share a couple words from our side as italki, as well as some thoughts about the theme this year, which is one of the themes, which is endangered languages. So, as you guys have heard, endangered languages, out of the 6,000 or 7,000 languages that are out there in the world, 50 to 90% of them might go extinct within the next 100 years. And that's a huge number. And for those of us who believe that languages are a crucial part of our cultural heritage, losing that we think would be a great tragedy. We see even some of these patterns on italki itself. The vast majority of languages on italki are focused on the top 10 to 15 languages. And so, one of the things that we're curious about is how we can do more to support languages that are more endangered. So, as one of the unique cultural heritages of humanity, I was going to play a video, but I think all of you can just go on YouTube and find many of these. It's just is a language called Zilbergamero, just as an example of one of the endangered languages that are out there. It's amazing to hear. It's only spoken by about 20,000 people, people who are living on the Canary Islands off of the coast of Spain. The language originally came out partly out of the need for people to communicate over long distances. And if you can hear it, it's astounding. It's really amazing. And I just wanted to, if you have a chance, we do have a teacher on italki who was teaching that. If you think of language as a central element of cultural and culture transmission, you can just imagine what it would be like to lose your language, and what that would mean for your literature or your poetry, or your written traditions, your oral traditions. If you aren't able to understand the texts of your history or of your spiritual tradition, what that would mean, and then truly, I think we'll be poorer for it if we don't have that. In terms, something even deeper, I think, than that is the question of identity. This is a quote from a Tohomo O'odham elder, which is a Native American tribe. "I speak my favorite language because that's who I am. We teach our children our favorite language because we want them to know who they are." And in that respect, I think one of the crucial elements of languages is that it's transmitted from an intergenerational perspective. We all know how languages die, right? Or what it looks like when it dies. No one speaks it. But how do you get there? It happens because children no longer learn the language as the mother tongue in the home. And from there, if they cannot speak it, they themselves are unable to transmit it to their children. So, the family plays a central role in making sure that this happens. It's also obviously true that there are things like national government policies, that can affect how a language is transmitted, as well as migration and assimilation pressures, as well as even things like intermarriage between people with different language backgrounds. All of these can make it difficult for some of these languages to survive. But that being said, it's not all bad news. I think a lot of forward-thinking governments, regional, local governments, are also taking a step forward in trying to promote their local languages. HABE is just one of many government-funded Basque language groups that are trying to revitalize the language in that area of Spain. Of course, as mentioned earlier, this is the UN's International Year of Indigenous Languages, and so there's greater awareness of languages as being important to preserve. There are groups like Wikitongues, which we have connected with in the past as well. They have done a lot of work in terms of recording, documenting languages from their grammar and their how they pronunciation, vocabulary, and so on, to help keep these languages alive. And of course, there are companies, and we are trying our best to make a small contribution here. You can learn an endangered language on italki, certainly not all 6,000 yet, but Earlier today, I hope you guys got a chance to maybe get a taste of some endangered languages. I think we had some lessons in Gaelic, Basque, as well as Welsh. And there are other languages as well that you can learn on italki. So, there are many opportunities, I guess, for people to reach out and touch these languages today. So as a technology company in this space, we know that technology has many positive as well as negative effects. We're trying our best to be a positive force to make that contribution for all of us in society. So at italki, just again, in case you don't know, we hope to connect the world through languages. And whether or not you're learning a more widely spoken language, or if you're learning a more local language to connect to your heritage, or if you're just learning a language just because you love languages, what we hope to do is we hope to connect people, regardless of who they are or where they come from, so that they can learn from each other. So again, those are all my comments. Thanks again for including us in this great community. We're always excited to support people, to support this conference. We love working with Richard, and we hope we'll be able to chance to meet all of you in person, and to hear more about your stories, as well as learn from all of you. So thanks again, and we hope you all have a great time at the Polyglot Conference this year.
Thank you so much.